Welcome to Peak Vitality, a podcast designed to empower women to defy aging and live life to the fullest. I'm your host, Laura Comfort, Harvard graduate, lifetime biohacker, wellness expert, singer, model, entrepreneur, and mother of twins in my 50s. I'm thrilled to bring you the latest science, lifestyle tips, biohacking techniques, and longevity secrets from my own experience, as well as leading experts and world-class pioneers around the globe, to help you rethink aging, thrive physically, mentally, and spiritually at every age. After facing my own challenges, I'm passionate about health and wellness, educating and empowering others to optimize the aging process and live a long and healthy and vibrant life. Let's begin this journey together, right here, right now, on the Peak Vitality Podcast. Welcome to the Peak Vitality Podcast. Today, I'm meeting with the fantastic entrepreneur and dear friend of mine, Jessyca Swann, who's the founder of Drip Dash, which is a wonderful, well, I'll let her tell you all about it. Welcome.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you for having me on your podcast. I am an avid listener, so that's really nice to be on here. Drip Dash is a biohacking pod. It's basically a clinic on wheels. So instead of just doing IV drips and things in clinic or in your house, you may not want a nurse coming into your house. We've actually got a pod that can drive outside your house. You can get your bloods taken, aesthetic treatments, and all the way down to IVs.
One-stop shopping.
Yeah, exactly.
Who doesn't want that? And when you're coming back from the airport or you're going to lunch, and I must say, I've tried it firsthand, and I had a wonderful infusion just before this podcast.
Yeah.
I've had NAD, I've had glutathione, and I've had a complete cocktail of all the B's and C's, and I feel fabulous. A word of warning, if you've never done NAD, it does make you feel a little bit queasy at first. There's a bit of a rush, a bit of a stomach ache, but fear not, once you're finished, you feel amazing.
Yeah, it's very short-lived, that feeling as well. It's normally the first sort of 5 to 8 minutes, and then it gets a bit easier.
Yeah.
But yeah, you mentioned one of our biggest USPs is drip and drive. So being able to turn London traffic, into wellness time as such. So if you've got 45 minutes, let's face it, to get even from Chelsea to Mayfair is 35, 40 minutes. You could have your blood work done, you could have an IV, and you could, top up your Profilo, for example, arriving at your meeting, that was the aim of the game.
Yeah. Now, I wanted to ask Jess a bit about her journey to Drip Dash. I know she is a busy mom, and I'm a busy mom. And I started my whole biohacking journey years ago with, as an athlete, and she was in the city, I know. So we were both, I would say, overworked, overstressed. And if you know, stress is is a silent killer. If you have chronic inflammation, that leads to accelerated aging and everything that goes along with it. And so that's when I learned the tools and strategies of biohacking. And tell me about your journey.
So I was in the city from about 20 years old, actually. So about 13 to 14 years, depending on dates. And it was fast. The motto was, if you're out, you're in. And much of the job entailed was client entertainment. So sometimes I'd honestly go from the bar or club to my desk, and it was exhausting. Bear in mind, I did this for so many years, and I started to feel depleted, exhausted. I didn't want to get out of bed. And it was that sort of burnout feeling, overused word, but it was. That's followed.
I had burnout, too much stress, no periods,
miscarriages,
no balance, no sleep, and infertility.
Yep.
So,
and then when I had the third miscarriage, I thought, and my mother passed away, I thought something has to change. And I delved into wellness, and I found it fascinating at how much we ignore it and how much is actually readily accessible, more so now. But people just think they can live the fast life and drink a glass of water and have an apple. No. Yeah. Like even the cocktails we drink nowadays, look at the mixes and the sugar that goes into it and all of this. And then I learned about, obviously, how to balance the vitamins, which you know more about, I think, on the supplements. But going into the intravenous side of things, how quick they can hit your body and what a difference they can make, especially to inflammation.
So for those of you who are new to supplements, you can obviously take them in various formats. You know, there's capsules, there's sublingual, there's some, you know, liposomal versions, which are very effective, or you can take it intravenously. And if you're a little bit scared of needles, then you might not want to participate. But a lot of people are actually, there's so much more awareness now. And for me, because I have fertility issues for so many years, I've done IVF at least, I don't know, half a dozen times, that needles were not, well, I was familiar with needles. So for me to do the NAD injection to myself,
was not a problem,
Yeah. But that's where the pod comes in. Yeah. It's a wonderful service because if you're scared of needles, just don't look, and we've got the big service you.
Yeah, so we've got we're CQC registered, which is a big thing. It's almost makes us like a hospital, really. But all of our nurses are there. I've got them all from the Royal Marsden, St King Edward's Hospital. Like, I've gone really I want the best experience for my clients. And we've got a 55-inch television. We've got Starlink internet, so you can quite literally sit back and watch your favourite show. You won't notice really what's going on with your arm. The needles also, I must say, they're a third of what they were 10 years ago, size-wise.
Yes.
It really is a tiny break.
So you're not going to get bruised. You don't.
No, you don't see it 2 seconds after. The other thing I've tried to create is, even I sometimes feel a bit nervous just before, but I wanted to do as much as I could to a person with one prick. So the needle goes in, we can then take all of their blood works, including fertility, etc. At the same time, we've got a machine on board that does a 4-second blood test for 12 biomarkers, such as, are you iron deficient, vitamin D deficient, B12, etc. By the time this has happened, we can then tailor your IV there and then to fit what is going on with your body. Yeah. Rather than these high street places where you just point at a menu like it's a drink and say, I want that drip. Yeah. You might have too much iron in your body, and then you're putting all this other stuff, guesswork out.
Well, that's having it customizable is such
hyper-personalized,
wonderful service, because if you are familiar with biohacking, it's all about taking control of your health, and it's all about experimenting and understanding your own body, and that starts with testing. So I tell all my clients, start with the hormones, the thyroid, the cortisol, lipids, whatever you need, even bone density, your gut health. Understand your body, get to know your body, and then start experimenting to find out what you need. If you have any deficiencies with nutrients as well. And we were discussing today how with the depleted soil and farming practices, you're not going to get
You're not even getting what you think you're getting.
All the nutrients you need through your food, even if you avoid what you need to, the seed oils and the toxins and the sweeteners and all that stuff. There's so many more chemicals in the environment than there were even a decade ago, that it's very helpful to take supplements but to know exactly what your body needs. And that's where this Drip Dash comes in. And it's fabulous because you can get on the spot testing done.
Diagnostics,
Yeah.
Not everyone has to have a blood test. Obviously, we are doctors and nurses. We know what goes with what people. So, there is the element of I'm hungover, help. That's fine.
Yes.
But there's the other side of the longevity and the biohacking, which we're even actually, I had a meeting yesterday where we're looking at non-plastic giving sets and IV bags now.
Right.
Just to microplastics,
Environmentally friendly.
So, exactly. Environmentally friendly, get rid of the microplastics and stuff like that. So we're an evolving new age biohacking longevity sort of pod. And a pod, I mean, it's a very, very decadent van that looks
luxurious
like a
pod.
Yeah. I say pod, but I never explain what that is because I use it so often. And we're aiming to have roughly 18 in the UK, all the way out to sort of everywhere, Edinburgh, etc., everywhere,
That's wonderful.
So, yeah.
And I think people now, once you learn, I always tell my clients too, once you learn the basics about biohacking, and it's very important to focus on, obviously, get the nutrition right, focus on your fitness, get your stress management, focus on your sleep, and all of that stuff is vital. And then the next stage is to look at, the specifics and to look at the longevity supplements that actually can make a huge difference. And we can discuss that too. I know NAD is very popular, which is nicotinamide is the precursor to it. but NAD is much talked about now, especially with David Sinclair, who went to Harvard, where I went, and he talks a lot about it. And I just had NAD, and I'm feeling great. So,
It's really
but that's
good.
one of your most popular, right?
Absolutely. I would say 4 out of 5 people are getting NAD. Really. I was surprised.
And some of the others, I had glutathione, which I've been taking for 30 years. And some of these things I researched literally 30 years ago.
Yeah.
But now they're picking up steam, and everybody is suddenly like,
It's the skin glow.
Right.
It's the antioxidant of your body, basically.
And you gave me some biotin today too.
Yep,
Great.
biotin, hair, skin, nails.
Yeah.
What we like to do, like what we did with you today, Laura, is we stack different IVs. So instead of just putting a massive multivitamin IV in a bag and that's it, and lots of these places actually pre-mix them, which ruins the vitamin C, etc., etc. Yeah. I won't go into it, but I like getting little 100 ml bags. That's your glutathione. This is your B complex and your B12. Here's all your vitamin C and your biotin, because they can mix together. And then we finished you off with the NAD bag.
Yeah.
That is how I like to treat a client.
You keep it pure,
keep
but
it
once
pure.
you have the
exactly. And it's one needle, but you've had all of this stuff. It's all prime. It's perfect. This is what I really enjoy doing. But NAD, I personally have done it, and I did a glycan age test, and I came up as 12 years older internally than externally, or the right lingo, I'm sure you know. But it gave me such a shock.
Yes.
Real awakening at how stressed I was. Yeah. And I think I've done now 7 months of NAD, and I came out 4 years younger on inflammation.
Amazing.
I mean, that is, you can't lie about that.
No, and that's an amazing result.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know about it, the glycan age test is a fabulous age test. It looks at your glycan composition. So it looks at your chronic inflammation, which is one of the, and whereas some of the other tests focus more on the methylation markers of your DNA. So I've done glycan age, epi age, elysium age, and epi age.
No,
so I've done 4 tests. And my range between 12 and glycan age said I was 18 years younger.
That's just insane.
So it proves that whatever I'm doing has helped.
Working.
But so much of it is awareness, because I was in the same position as you, where I was on a treadmill, and I was just
too much.
As a busy mom and an entrepreneur, and you don't sleep enough, and you're too stressed, and that's when you have to take a step back. And the wonderful thing about some of these tests, like glycan age tests, is you can make a huge difference by making some minor adjustments in your lifestyle. Yeah. And you have to realize that if you're looking at your rate of aging, there's 25% is your genetics, and then 75% is your lifestyle. Yep. And also your life story, I call it, because I do think depending on your childhood, if you ever had trauma, if you have had trauma or depression, or let's see, malnutrition when you were a child, or different circumstances, that will also contribute to your current rate of aging. But it makes you realize how much control you have. Yeah. And
breathing techniques as well was a massive thing.
That's where stress management comes in. And
I used to feel stupid doing it. And now, I kind of have a go at it, and I do the breathing. See, that's probably my alarm to do breathing right now. We'll do deep breathing. But I didn't even realize the importance of breathing, and some of them sort of, you pant like a dog, etc. And I do feel silly, but it's getting easier.
I'm from a similar boat where I found it very hard to meditate. So but I found other things like yoga, tapping. Tapping your body is great for your lymphatic system. Even I have a small trampoline. Yeah. And that is great, again, for lymphatic system. I just jump up and down for 5 minutes when I get a bit stressed, or at the end of the evening. You really have to try it. It's wonderful.
You're going to get me ringing your bell every time I'm stressed. Give me the trampoline.
Hey, so,
I love that.
But you just try and incorporate.
And that won't take much space as well.
Techniques.
These little.
And then what did Huberman say? I think it's the.
Oh yes, the.
There's a certain type of. There are certain types of breath work that are more effective than others, but I think it's
the last sharp one that opens up your lungs the most.
So, try whatever you can, explore, But yeah, it's incorporating these bits of stress management and self-care because, you know, with this fast-paced lifestyle we have,
It's too much
you
sometimes.
really need it. So at least you're on the right path.
Yeah, I also think instead of, because at the beginning of this glycanage test, obviously I thought, that's it, I'm dying, I'm 75 years old, I'm at the end, you know, planning my funeral. I actually had a guest list for my funeral, just, you know, I didn't want riffraff. But no, so then I tried to change everything immediately. And then I had to write a to-do list. I was brushing my teeth and it was like, micro dermapen, you know, micro roll, get this, do the collagen, do the greens, do the this. And I found it so too much.
Then you get more stress.
Exactly. So I reined it back and I thought, let's add one thing a week.
Yeah.
Whether it's the collagen supplement now or the NAD every month. Yeah.
That is another thing I was going to say. A lot of people get very excited about the data-driven wearable technology.
Oh, yeah.
And I've had the Lingo, I have the Whoop, I've tried the Fitbits, whatever they are.
Yeah.
And if they cause you more stress to wear them than not to wear them, it can sort of defeat the purpose of wearing them.
Yeah.
And I think they do serve a purpose. I think they're amazing. And I try and maybe do it 3 months at a time and get some information from it.
And you see the patterns.
You don't want to get obsessed by it. But also I think you need to understand the basics first so that you can interpret the data.
Yeah,
otherwise you're like, okay,
my Apple Watch, honestly, I once got out of bed and like did 10 star jumps to get my step count to hit the 6,000.
Right. You're like, oh my God.
That's crazy. I said, I'm like 10 steps away. I better just do it. That's crazy, babe. I mean, it's half funny, but.
So everything is about balance.
Moderation.
And biohacking is about good stress. So good stress builds your resilience and your strengths and helps your longevity. But you don't want to push too hard. It's like if you do cold plunges, what I was saying, if you're a woman, cold plunges, you react much more. Your shock comes on much quicker than with men, and it can be detrimental up beyond a certain point.
I didn't know that.
And even things like intermittent fasting, you have to be very careful. It depends on what time of the month you are. We get a natural glucose spike in the morning. And so I sometimes take a handful of nuts or berries and put butter and milk in my coffee, but delay my coffee for at least an hour, hour and a half. So they're just little tricks that I think women need to be aware of too. Yeah. Even things like a small high protein fat at the end of the evening will boost your progesterone at night.
Like peanut.
Yeah, like peanut butter, something like that. But I think that's why
spoon in the jar. I meant to.
I'm on the trampoline. So, but I think these, you know, it can be a bit overwhelming because there's a lot of information. So start, as you said, don't get stressed. Start simple. Slowly. Actually, my 7-day reboot, my 7-day vitality challenge, I have one challenge at the end of each day. Perfect. So I'll have the PDF and the video on one day on fitness, one day on nutrition, one day on stress management. That's manageable. And here's, you know, one challenge to try and put in.
No, that's good. I like
that. Start with baby steps, you know, a little cold spray or, you know, stretch breakfast a little bit, you know, baby steps to see what you're comfortable with and what, you know, because if you push it too hard, it can have the reverse effect.
Yeah, and then you get inflammation and stress. Yes. Just like if you do HIIT, I always thought HIIT was great and shocked my body into burning calories and stuff. But actually, when I did the glycanage and the doctor gave me my kind of results, she said, no more fast workouts, yoga.
No, HIIT is fine, just not too much of it.
Not too much, which is the only workout I did.
It's all about VO2 max. So HIIT is great, but you don't want it to, it's like long distance running is not good for you.
Yeah,
you know?
Well, I'm not good at that.
So, but you want to make sure your blood pressure goes back to normal.
Yes.
Before you do the next
one. And quickly,
You know, so it's like short bursts, and then more of what Pediatrio calls your zone two training, which is like training when you don't get out of breath. So it's pretty much having a balanced, active lifestyle.
Yeah.
But mixing it up and making sure you have enough time to recover.
Which is when
because when you sleep is when you produce, you know, your growth hormone and you recover and you actually build muscle when you sleep too.
I mean, that's cool.
So you damage the muscle and then you build the muscle. So it's just important to have a balanced life, which is very hard, but we're working on it.
We're all trying.
So tell me more about your favorite cocktails. I know there's such a list here. And what are the most popular ones? And what are your personal favorites?
So we do something, when you do an NAD drip, a really good thing to follow with is glutathione, exactly like we did to downstairs. Before NAD, to prep your body, and it actually helps you feel a little less sick when you're having NAD, is to have a multivitamin drip before. So that's when I was talking about stacking. So we call it, it's called Centurion, like Black Amex, you know, the gold standard, everything. We did it today. So we do a multivitamin drip, then the NAD finished with a glutathione. If someone is interested in biohacking and they've got the disposable income to go down this rabbit hole, for example, it doesn't always have to be expensive, but if you're choosing the top thing, I would recommend before the multivitamin drip, do your full blood work. And we can do that again. This is still in the same needle. So one needle, we get all your bloods. They send off 24 hours later, we get those back, unless we're doing the 4-second biomarkers, but that doesn't show the full picture. Then you do the multivitamin, then the NAD, then the glutathione. Another one with the girls that I'm seeing quite popular, that sounds sexist, but most of the women are doing it, is the Glow Getter, which is 3,000 milligrams. And the lady before you did it today, 3,000 milligrams of glutathione in a 100 ml bag, followed by a vitamin C, very high dose vitamin C bag. So that's stacking again. We're not mixing it. I don't want to mix those two vitamins. And that is glow, it's antioxidant, it's skin brightening. That's a really popular treatment. Again, with the ladies, I like to also run some hormonal paneling. Lots of them are sort of feeling all of this, think they need a drip. No, you're actually low in whatever, or your progesterone's not doing what it should, or things like that. And it's really interesting. They then need to go and work with their own doctor. We've also got doctors who give the results, obviously. That's how we're CQC registered. But they can then go and talk to their own doctor. But it's amazing how many drips actually help with a vast majority of problems. Not everything. We're not going to solve the world with an IV. Yes. But, you know, if they are low in this, we can treat that as drip dash. And they don't need to go to the doctor and stand in line or sit next to someone in the clinic. The pod can go take them to their doctor's appointment while they have their IV.
Well, I think the and then we test their bloods again. Is changing so much. You can actually, if you want a more comprehensive aging test too, you can take like the glycan test. I think I have a code, Laura C or something, if you want a discount. And you can send away by post. You can get it by post, send away by post, and then you get a free consultation with the doctor to analyze your results. And a whole lifestyle, you know,
kind of manual of things to change.
Exactly, what you need to focus on. I think that's
so if you're doing that,
Novus Age did that as well. Some of these other tests do that as well, and I think that's fabulous. That's a wonderful way to get to understand your body and the impact that your lifestyle is having on your body, and then you can focus on, okay, so how am I going to make the changes that I need to
bit
reverse, you know, to improve my rate of aging, and then you can
retest,
call drip dash, and retest as soon as 3 months later, and see and you can see a real huge difference.
I think if you're tracking and spending quite a lot of money doing NAD and things like that, you want to really do your bloods kind of quarterly to check it's working, because bloods don't lie. You know, and you'll see that actually by doing NAD, you don't get the hangovers you used to, and actually your inflammation's coming down as well, and all of this. I mean, we're moving, we're moving into a time where knowledge is power, whereas before I think a lot of people were scared of it.
I think a
lot
of people
are coming into play as well.
Would quietly suffer. I've seen some of my friends quietly suffer because there also were so many misconceptions also about things like HRT and stuff.
Menopause,
and now we have a lot more information. So I tell everybody, go out there and take control back and do some investigating and be your own little, you know,
like
do some research on yourself, and it'll be worth it. And this is preventative. So as I was saying earlier today, you know, you're going to save money in the long run.
By not having this slow decline.
Because you're preventing, if you look at longevity with men and women, as soon as the perimenopause hits, you know, you go way, way up. So we tend to live longer, but in worse health. And that's where HRT comes in, and that's where drip dash comes in. And I will be doing some supplements myself.
Yes, which we can't wait to have in our pod.
But all of this helps, and raising awareness and empowering other women to take control
Stay on top of your game.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And then because everything is linked. The fastest aging organ is your ovaries.
It's crazy.
And a lot of people don't realize that. And that can hit at some people in their late 30s.
I was going to say like 36,
and their early 40s, and they're given antidepressants. And it's just so wrong. And you need to think, wait a second. He's telling me to take antidepressants. Is this really my problem? So get your hormones tested and then get them retested. And if you're on top of it and you get the right HRT for your body, then it can have an incredible impact on your health span and your lifespan and your fun span.
Fun span, we like that.
I talked today about fun span, which I sort of coined at my panel a few months ago. And that's when you have the kick-ass attitude, you've got the libido, you've got boundless energy, and that's what we want to improve.
Yeah.
Our fun span.
Yeah.
Not just...
Don't want to be boring forever.
Yeah, exactly.
Want to be fun forever and then die quickly at the end painlessly.
Maybe we might get an injection for that at some point.
Oh, goodness me.
You never know.
Oh. No, well, thank you.
Oh, this has been so much fun. And we will do this again.
Yes. Maybe we'll do it in the pod.
Exactly. We'll do it in the pod. And we'll be doing some retreats and events together.
Yeah.
So watch this space, and we'll have a chapter 2, because also they're always going to be more. I have a doctor friend of mine who's working on a spermidine supplement. There are all kinds of things going on. There are all kinds of things going on behind the scenes, which are going to be groundbreaking. Rolling
out.
Yes. So.
And also, if you do get hold of Drip Dash on Instagram, it's dripdash.me. And if you say peak vitality, we'll give you 15% off anything as well.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
You.
Oh, thank you
My
so
pleasure.
much for joining us.
Thank you. Mwah. Thank you, darling.
If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for more tips on living your most vibrant, youthful life. Until next time, keep biohacking your way to peak vitality. Come join us on our next episode when we'll dive deeper into empowering women's health topics. And for those of you who want to take their health and longevity to the next level, you can take my free Biohack Your Life quiz to find out, is your lifestyle adding years to your life or taking them away? Reveal your score in minutes with this quick and insightful quiz to help you uncover your current lifestyle habits and reveal personalized biohacking tips to boost your health and vitality. Remember, it's never too late to step out of your comfort zone, rejuvenate your body, reignite your vitality, and reinvent the life you love. I'm Laura Comfort, and this has been a Peak Vitality podcast. Let's step into a future of vitality, resilience, and boundless potential. Stay tuned, stay empowered, and keep reaching for peak vitality. Until next time.